Today, I want to talk about the elections of 2027. Too early? You guess. But it would appear as Kenyans, we move from one election to the next. In other words, we end one election today and we start another election. Considering that immediately after the election, Ruto was not sworn in because there were petitions. And immediately after that, there were issues of legitimacy and demonstrations. And before we settle, the environment is full of political air and campaigns already. It is a little stupid on our part, but let's deal with it. So I'm talking about 2027 in the context of what is already taking place. Of particular interest to me today, which I want to share with you, is the possible permutations, the possible teams. It is becoming a very interesting game already. First, the most obvious combination and the most obvious team would be if Ruto maintains Rigathi Gachagua. And if Raila Odinga runs and picks Kalonzo or Mother Karua. That will be normal, routine, no change. Even if Raila didn't run and he supported Kalonzo, it's almost normal except when it comes to running mates. If Kalonzo were to run and take Oparanya, again it will be normal. Nothing exciting. Routine. I'm looking at the possibilities that are a little exciting. Let's start with William Samoei Ruto. Talk is rife in the country that William Ruto may drop Rigathi Gachagua. I don't want to go into the details because I've already made my point clear on this matter. Made myself clear on this matter. I've already said that will be tempting the gods on the part of William Ruto. It will be actual political suicide. But let's assume that happens. What possibilities does he have? People talking about removing Rigathi Gachagua and to maintain the Mount Kenya bloc, you take somebody else from Mount Kenya. That then would be Kithure Kindiki, who came so close to being the running mate. How does this work for William Ruto? No brainer. You completely lose Mount Kenya West. You cannot remove Gachagua and bring the good guy called Professor Kithure Kindiki and hope to get the votes of the former Central Province. Murang'a, Kiambu, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Nyandarua, Laikipia, those areas, including Nakuru. That is stretching your luck a little too far. Ndindi Nyoro, capable. Nobody would complain, except in politics. It's not about the quality of the individual. It is the politics surrounding it. Already Gachagua has succeeded to paint Ndindi Nyoro, Ishungwa, and Moses Kuria as traitors to the community. So how do you take a community traitor and think he can succeed Rigathi Gachagua and people vote for you? Zero. Moreover, once you remove Rigathi Gachagua, chances of him running are so high that I can almost bet my last shilling. And if he did run, if the current conversation around the mountain is maintained, then that Gachagua candidacy will spell doom to William Samoei Ruto. And any candidate from Mount Kenya will not help him. Where does that leave William Ruto? In the event he removes Gachagua, it lands him squarely to Western Kenya. If William Ruto makes Musalia Mudavadi running mate with a promise to assist him in 2032, that has the potential of giving William Samoei Ruto Luhya votes. Almost to a man. Except there's a small problem. And that problem is if Raila himself is running. The moment you touch Mount Kenya, and I've said repeatedly, William Samoei Ruto, then you expose your underbelly. Then if Raila didn't want to run, he now knows William Ruto minus Mount Kenya is dead meat. Somebody you can have for breakfast. So if Raila ran and you have taken Mudavadi, you have not gained anything, because Mudavadi, even as a presidential candidate, and Raila is running, they will share the votes of Mlembe Nation. So a Mudavadi running mate and a Raila president would mean simply that Raila will still run away with Western votes, with the Mlembe Nation votes, with the Luhya votes. So that taking Mudavadi does not seem to advance Ruto's cause. It doesn't at all. It may serve to unify the Luhyas and put the Luhyas in a situation where they will all vote for William Ruto. But it depends on what Raila does. If Raila supports that move, yes, the Luhya and the Luo can give Ruto sufficient votes for him to face Gachagua or somebody else. But if Raila decides to run, then the Mudavadi choice is a waste of time. How about Gachagua? If Gachagua runs, who does he pick? That arithmetics is critical and very important, because already the Mount Kenya united under one bus, moving in one direction, in one bus, bring to the table a lot of votes. So all you would need as Gachagua is a man or woman from another region or community who brings you even just 1 million votes. And that is, you'll be number one and there'll be a runoff. Who could that person most likely be in the event Gachagua runs? That is a very difficult one. But supposing he picks somebody like Tawe, Natembeya. If Gachagua picks Natembeya and Ruto picks Mudavadi, they will split the Luhya votes. And then Natembeya will bring those numbers I'm talking about to join the Mount Kenya votes. And this will harass any other candidate into almost submission. So to me, both Ruto and Gachagua, if they ran as opposing candidates, will be looking to Western Kenya. But there's also the possibility that Gachagua could look at the cost. If you went to the coast and it took somebody like Joe, it's another dangerous card. Just like Ruto could look around and say, okay, not Gachagua, not Mount Kenya, not Mudavadi, not Western, Aden Duale. Aden Duale then brings not just the increasing number of Somali votes, but the Muslim votes to Ruto's side. So these are possible permutations. How about Gachagua not running? What would he most likely prefer if he didn't run? Just to make sure he gets his pound of flesh from Ruto. Just to serve Ruto cold revenge. Just to do what Zuma has done in South Africa. To make life difficult for President Ramaphosa. And he's done it. What would Gachagua do? And I've repeatedly said, all Gachagua will need to do once he has consolidated the mountain votes is to tell the mountain people, in order for us to remove this man, let's give somebody and we shall come back. And that somebody is Kalonzo Musyoka. So that deputizing Kalonzo Musyoka will be a move from Gachagua that I call a dangerous card. How about Kalonzo Musyoka? In the event Gachagua is running, Ruto is running, and Kalonzo Musyoka is running, a lot will depend on the support from Raila Odinga. But even then, Kalonzo is forced to look to the Mlembe Nation. Who are the possible candidates to deputize Kalonzo? Everybody talks of Oparanya. I have my reservations, and for good measure. People are saying, is it Eugene who brings the block from Bungoma? Is it Oparanya? These are the two possible candidates. But I'm saying from the Luhya point of view, the Luhya will be cheated if they take somebody like Oparanya. Just like the Luhya will be cheated if they are told, let us return Gachagua because we don't want the trouble. But in 2032, we shall not support Gachagua, we shall support Mudavadi. That's a big lie. This lie of age is, if Kalonzo runs and perhaps doesn't win, if Oparanya had deputized him, that's the end of Kalonzo, it's the end of Oparanya. I advocate for a young, youthful leader like Natembeya. A young, youthful leader like Sifuna to deputize, because they can be around for a long time, even if they win or lose, or win and lose in the next election, re-election, when Kalonzo loses. They can stay and come back. Having gotten that far, they have a chance, they have a name. The name recognition serves them well at that time. And therefore, when I look at this permutation, I can see the one constant factor is two individuals. One recently said, one is Saul turned Paul. The people to control 2027 will still be Raila and Gachagua. Raila, on whether he will support Ruto fully and consolidate the Western vote, Luo, Kisi, Luhya, and take to Raila with Mudavadi, Atwoli, and the rest of those people, Oparanya and Eugene, no, not Eugene, Oparanya, or whether, not Oparanya, rather, Mudavadi, Atwoli, and the rest of those people, or whether he will run himself, he changes the equation, or whether he will strongly back Kalonzo Musyoka. That remains a constant. The other one of the two is Gachagua, who has replaced Raila as a newsmaker. Without Gachagua, the papers are not quite selling well. The way it used to be Raila, now is Gachagua. TV, everywhere else. This Gachagua man, if he decides to stick with Ruto, the 2027 election will not be very exciting, because Ruto will win without a problem. But if he decides to bolt, to leave Ruto, what he does will deal a mortal blow to Ruto's campaign. More so, if he will have succeeded to unite the mountain as they face towards 2027. And therefore, in summary, 2027 seems to be tomorrow. It is not Ruto, it is Gachagua and Raila who will control 2027.